This is session E of the free value betting training course. In this session, let's have a look at what is bookie bashing, or generally, what is any service that assists and aids with advantage play, with value betting, with professional gambling. So any service that exists that aids with advantage play and value betting wants to look at three different components. Now, as we've discussed previously, there are a number of different edges and techniques and strategies that can apply in value betting. We also have to consider the fact that restrictions apply, and we have to work under bankroll management and variance. That really is what we covered in sessions A, B, C, and D. So any service for advantage play and value betting wants to consider all of these elements, and they want to have three separate components that they offer. The first one, if you're going to be betting, then you want to know bets, be given bets that are plus EV to bet on. But not only that, these have to be sustainable. You see, I can turn around to you and I can tell you that one bookmaker is a huge price on a particular horse at the 2:15 on Ludlow on a Wednesday afternoon. Well, fantastic. Two people will go and bet on that. The price will get cut. It's not sustainable. Or maybe there's a very thin edge in table tennis at one particular book. Well, the minute more than two people start betting on that very thin edge over and over again, it's going to disappear. And so when we look at the provision of bets, we need to be considerate of the sustainability of these and take into account the risk of restrictions. And that's why we need to have three separate components. The first is trackers. Trackers are pieces of software that deliver the back odds and the EV, the equity of bets at scale, but only really considering bets that are sustainable to the size of the advantage play community that is looking at them. The second service, the second suite of software that is necessary for the advantage player is tools. We need databases, calculators, tracking tools. We need software that will enable us both to identify and benchmark and also track bets, private bets ourselves. This is what we use for the thinner edges, for perhaps betting on the exchanges, perhaps betting on smaller markets at the bookmaker that doesn't suit a larger audience. The tools are our personal suite of software that we use to identify our own value bets. And then finally, we need a feedback system. We need a community. We need the ability of a group of advantage players to feedback what's working, what isn't working, perhaps discussing certain edges. We can fine-tune certain calculations and pieces of software through a feedback system with a community of advantage players. And we can maybe identify any areas where the edge is eroding or perhaps the calculation isn't correct. And through this iterative process of feedback, we can learn, because of course nobody knows everything. Myself, presenting this advantage player training course, the first thing that I have to admit to everybody is the scope of my knowledge is very limited compared to a lot of other people. But then their scope of knowledge may be limited in some of my expert domains. Nobody knows everything. And so having a community around you, you find that the community as a whole is greater than the sum of the individual parts. So at Bookie Bashing, we are separated into three different areas. We have up here the trackers, we have the tools, and we have an education area which also ties in with the community that we have under the hub at Bookie Bashing. In this first video, let's have a look at the trackers. So we're not going to have a look at the tools. We'll come to that in video 2. We're not going to have a look at the hub or the education or the professional team. That's in video 3, and the community we'll do in video 4. Just now, we're going to have a look at the trackers. So the trackers, as we discussed before, are software, a suite of software that delivers at scale odds with the back odds, the bet, and the equity of the bet for a community of advantage players to bet on. We have a hybrid system at Bookie Bashing where we apply both automatic software that identifies, scrapes, and sends these to bets to the tracker 24 hours a day. This automatic software works autonomously without human intervention. So that's the first set of bets that we have. The second set of bets, we actually have a lot of manual entry that goes in to trackers. These are real people, the BB team, scoping through bookmakers, manually identifying bets, entering them into the system. The trackers that we have are divided into, if you like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 7 trackers here, but 2 of them are horse racing. We have a bet tracker, which is a catch-all tracker for every sport that isn't predefined in the list below. A horse racing tracker, we have 2, and I'll come to why we have 2 in a bit. A golf tracker, a shop football coupons tracker, an early payout tracker, and a combo bets tracker. I'm actually going to start with the racing tracker up here. So the racing tracker at Bookie Bashing is a horse racing tracker. We actually have 2 horse racing trackers. We started with the horse racing tracker basic. We now have the horse racing tracker pro. They look identical, and what these trackers do is they look at every runner in every race on every day in the UK and at major meetings abroad. And every few seconds, we calculate the equity of every runner in every race. And we do this through a variety of different metrics, both looking at the markets, the exchanges, and doing our own in-house calculations. And we advise that we do some filtering on the tracker. So we tend to always filter out anything that is an arbitrage bet, anything where the back odds of the horse is higher than the exchange. Whilst these are plus EV propositions, they will lead to very fast restrictions. And so there is a setting under my settings where we remove arbitrage bets. I mean, you can see them if you want to. I just think it's kind of pointless to see them. So both trackers return all horses. Here we see the top horse today is Farron at the 335, Haydock at 25 to 1. We see the neutral odds are 18.76 for this horse, which makes 134.27 EV. If we were to look at the racing tracker basic, we also see almost exactly the same layout. We'll just see a few different horses. I just want to explain what the difference between the 2 trackers are. We started with the racing tracker basic a few years ago, and then it was time for a major update where we were going to look at a lot of the logic, and we were going to improve and enhance the algorithms, the logic, and the speed at which the data is presented. We then released the Racing Tracker Pro, and we were going to turn off the Racing Tracker Basic. It was actually a member that made a very valid point, and that was that the Racing Tracker Basic was still profitable. It returned slightly different horses. And so why turn it off? Because this gives a wider scope of horses for members to bet on. Not only that, if the Racing Tracker Pro was to become stale or go down, the Racing Tracker Basic is always there in the background for people to use. And so it just made sense to leave both trackers live, even though the original objective was to write the Racing Tracker Pro to replace the Racing Tracker Basic. So we have 2 horse racing trackers. Generally, the community at Bookie Bashing like to create lists. They like to add horses into their selections. With the bet, they can take them at different shops. The terms at the shops may be different to online, and so we allow shop terms to be adjustable, and our community tend to visit the shops very early in the day. They identify the races that are different terms in shop than they are online, and we update these. So we see that this horse is 101.46 at William Hill online, 101.46 at William Hill shop, meaning it's the same terms and places in shop on this race, on this horse, online as in shop. So we can identify a number of horses 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we can either place these into singles, although as we've discussed in previous videos, it's often preferential to maybe select 4 horses, put them into a lucky 15, 5 horses into a lucky 31, maybe play doubles, trebles, trixies, as long as we're compounding that value, and also singles lead to restrictions a little bit faster than multiples. So often users tend to take quite a few horses at the same bookmaker and place them into multiples. We do monitor the results of the horse racing tracker. Under the hub, we have a results section where we monitor all of the trackers over time. We also publish blogs every now and again after something interesting's happened, and something interesting has just happened because we're in late March just now. It was Cheltenham Festival, and if I look at Cheltenham Festival, I can see that the return on investment at 6 different bookmakers was actually negative using the default metric at Paddy Power. But if you add up the 6 different bookmakers, we had 653 horses under the default for a 16% ROI on singles. This is the default metric, really looks at a lot of information from the places, the place probability from the exchange and the markets, but we also have something that we call the BB algo. This is where we calculate the probability of the place in-house using regression analysis, looking backwards at a data set of 2 million horses. So this is bookie bashing, estimating the ROI, the probability of a horse placing in-house. And at Cheltenham Festival, over 750 horses, the ROI using the BB algo was 28.2%. Now, both of those figures are significantly higher than the long term. We've got a 3-month review here from January to March 2023. We see that all unique horses, 5,000 unique horses across those 6 bookmakers would have returned 6.8% on the default, 9.5% for 4,000 horses over BB algo. We've got a larger data set and results with about 100,000 horses on there, I think. And let's have a look at the 85,000 horses. Longer term ROI is 6% on the default. And 4.6% on the BB algo. So generally in singles, we're looking between 5 and 10%, depending on the metric. When that goes to multiples, we're looking at 20, 30, 40%. So these back odds are updated in real time every few seconds. Scrapers go and have a look at the back odds. This top one is at Sky, so this will have been looked at within the last few minutes. In fact, the update time was 58 seconds ago. And so we sort of try to keep this as current as possible. And the horse racing tracker simply has a lot of volume of bets on it, where we can identify, 10 horses in every race over 8 races at every meeting, and maybe 8 meetings a day on a Saturday. So a significant amount of value available. The bookmakers that we look at include 10Bet, 32 Red, 888 Sport. We look at shops. We look at Grosvenor, Casumo, Boyle Sports, Parry Match, Quinbet, William Hill shop. So a large variety of bookmakers are looked at in the horse racing tracker. The next tracker we have is a golf tracker. This looks at DP World, PGA and Live events. So here we have 3 events this weekend. The PGA is a slightly strange event. It's a match play as opposed to the usual stroke play. But even then, if we click into the match play, like the horse racing tracker, we can see a list of golfers. Ryan Fox is at the top at 80 to 1. The bookmakers that Ryan Fox is plus EV at. So, 80 to 1, he's highest EV at Paddy Power Shops and Betfair Sportsbook, and Sky Bet, where he's slightly lower at Sky Bet at 75 to 1, 8 places 1 to 5. He's 80 to 1, 8 places 1 to 5 at the other 3. 70 to 1 down at Boyle Sports. So this allows us, we can, if we only have access to Boyle Sports, we've got slightly different bookmakers in here. We've got bookmakers such as Farfa Better, Fitzdares, where was Boyle Sports. Where we just want to look at Boyle Sports, we can just filter by Boyle Sports and take Davis Thompson, Ryan Fox, Ben Griffin. Various filters where we can filter EV and the odds and search for golfers. Again, the results of golf are very interesting. We've gone through a little bit of a downswing, and in an advantage player value betting community, we have to put our hands up. Downswings happen. In golf, downswings can actually be quite long due to the nature of golf being only 2 or 3 tournaments a week, where you might have 2 or 3 horse races in 15 minutes in horse racing. So downswings can go on for a very long time. And we put some selections up every week from the golf tracker just to monitor the ROI. And over the last 2,500 selections, we've turned a £1,000 bankroll into £12,000. We have all of the results in this spreadsheet. This page is open to everybody. Were you to start with £1,000 in 2019, you would now have £11,493 profit for a £12,500 bankroll, 32% ROI. Doesn't tell the whole story. Look at 2023 on its own. We're minus 68% ROI on the DP World Asian and Live Tours. Whilst we're plus 29% on the PGA, that's an overall of minus 21.99%. I have to say it's only March. It's the end of March just now, so we've only had 3 months. But that's this period here. So that's a long time, 3 months, to be losing and losing and losing. And that just shows you why golf takes a little bit of patience. In latest news, we had a little graph that showed the golf betting in 2023 up until March, and there's that minus 22%. That's what we've had to deal with over 174 bets, but we're very confident that the golf model will turn around. Both the horse racing and the golf models are prepositioned on an edge of each way betting. In golf, we work out the probability of Davis Thompson here to finish first, second, third, exactly fourth, exactly fifth, exactly sixth, all the way up to exactly 12th. We then look at the places on offer at each bookmaker. So Boyle Sports is offering 8 places here. And because we have estimated in-house the probability of second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, we can add all of that up. And our neutral odds for Davis Thompson for 8 places, 1 to 5 odds, is 133.45. So anything over 133.45 is a value bet. And Davis Thompson is 200 to 1 at Boyle Sports, which is why he's 150% EV. It is the same strategy on the horse racing tracker. We also have a coupons tracker. This is shop coupons, so it's specific to shops. If you've ever gone into a betting shop in the UK, betting shops are used by advantage players because they're often restricted online, and so the next best option is to go into shop either on their own or in teams. Here we have almost every coupon available at William Hill, from win to nil, win and 2 or more goals, team to score 1 or more goals, team to score 2 or more goals, even team to win both halves, team to score in both halves, goal in minute 1 to 30. If I just click on one of these coupons, we see that team to score 2 or more goals. This team I've never heard of before, Correcaminos. Couldn't even tell you what league they play in. Millonarios and Austria versus Azerbaijan are the 3 plus EV teams. But what we might do as advantage players is we might take the top 5 here. Generally on a coupon, teams have been priced up at about 90%. So once they're even at 95%, they're steaming. And by really placing trebles on the top steamers, we theorize that we are jumping on the back of smart money and we are going to profit based on the strategy of betting on the highest steamers on any given football coupon. Team to score 2 or more goals is not a liquid market on the exchange. I think it's available at Smarkets. It's not even available at Betfair. Certainly not available for games like this at Smarkets. Yeah, and even in the Premiership, that market will be almost completely illiquid. So by pricing this up ourselves, we price up 2 or more goals, 3 or more goals, team to score both halves, goal in minute 0 to 30, team to win both halves, etc., etc. We price them all in-house using a game center, which looks at every primary and secondary league and competition in the entire world and comes up with the exact fair odds for all of these markets. And it moves in real time as the markets move, as money comes in for Corey Caminos in the match odds market. Then Corey Caminos becomes more favourites, the more likely to score more goals. Their XG goes up, and these fair odds will adjust accordingly. So we bet on all of these coupons in shop. Our community does. If you go to the counter and the odds have been cut, we can update them here just to let everybody else know. Or if it's held, we can click the held button and everybody in the community will know that that bet is still available as of 1 second ago. The shop coupons tracker looks at William Hill, it looks at Betfred, it looks at Independence. We don't generally put up a lot of coupons at Paddy Power because we tend to find that there's not a lot of value there, and there is almost no value on coupons at Coral and Ladbrokes, which is why they're not even in the list. Shop coupon betting is something that we've been doing since the inception of Bookie Bashing. We actually started off as shop bettors, and it's one of the most consistent returns on investments season after season. You can generally have 8 or 9 losing months, but the 2 or 3 winning months that you have in the year will be large enough that they will make up for the losing months and more. The general strategy being to place sort of 7 teams into trebles on each coupon. So you're sort of waiting for all of those 7 teams to win at the same time. We can get the EV, but just because something is plus EV doesn't mean it's going to win. Good bets can lose, bad bets can win. But one thing that we know is that this is a very sustainable way of profiting from the bookmaker. Shops aren't going to go anywhere, and shop football coupons aren't going to go anywhere. And it's one of those edges that we tend not to get knocked back or see very many restrictions at all on shop football coupons. The early payout tracker looks at the 2-up concession. This is a football concession at Bet365, Sky Bet and Paddy Power. If your football team goes 2 goals up, say 2-0 or 3-1 or 4-2, then that will immediately be paid out as a winner, even if the match ends up as a draw or the team goes on to lose. We return the live back odds and fair odds of all of the football teams at Bet365, Paddy Power and Sky Bet that qualify for the 2-up concession. We have various different settings that we can apply under My Settings. We can have a look at the probability of each match finishing 2-2. We can use data metrics such as lay, last trade, back. We can use the lay or the advantage early payout method, the advantage play. We find actually that whilst it is possible to profit from this concession by backing at the bookmaker and minimizing risk by laying, and therefore that means that we can back generally higher than our bankroll would normally allow, that also brings with it problems with restrictions, and sometimes in fact putting these football teams in the early payout tracker into multiples has quite a significant return on investment, whilst also managing to lengthen the life cycle of a betting account. The next tracker we have is a combo bet tracker. We actually only publish the bets on the combo bets tracker 1 hour before kickoff to protect them. These bets are your odds, what odds paddies, they are pick your punts, they are requester bets, they are these same game combo bets, same game parlays that the bookmakers apply that sort of revolve around cards, goals, corners over certain periods of time, such as maybe a team to have 3 corners and 1 goal in each half, something like that. So we see coming up, we're going to have them for Ireland, Latvia and Mansfield, Grimsby tonight. There's only a handful of bets. I mean, this is the international break. On a Saturday with Premiership football or a Champions League, we would tend to see lots of games with hundreds of bets coming through the combo bets tracker. The final tracker I would like to show you that Bookie Bashing has is the bet tracker. So the bet tracker is just a catch-all tracker where Bookie Bashing send bets that don't belong to horse racing, golf, coupons, early payout. This tracker is populated manually by a team, generally in the morning and occasionally over the day as bets appear as well. And also it is populated automatically by bots. We can see on the side here the credit goes to either the BB bot or the BB team. There are various different trackers that sit within this tracker. So this is the public tracker, but there's also a private tracker. So a private tracker is for members to use themselves. They will push bets that they want to see, but they don't want anybody else to see. So if you've identified a bet that looks interesting, you can set it up. You can push it to your private tracker, and it will be monitored over the day, benchmarked against a variety of different sources. We can benchmark it against the exchange price. We can benchmark it against the best bookmaker price across a set of bookmakers, which is often a very good indicator of value. We can benchmark it against in-house databases, so corners, cards, darts, 180s, rugby handicaps, things like that. So all of these can be done on a private tracker and nobody else will see this. We actually have a private group tracker at Bookie Bashing as well. So if you've got a group or a team, you can share bets with your group but not with the wider community. We have a shop tracker as well, which we can turn on and off if we're not interested or if we are, and an online tracker if we're not interested in online and just shop bets, we can turn that off. The combo bets tracker also comes over to the bet tracker 1 hour before kickoff. We can turn that on and off here. So we generally populate this in the very early in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning up until 10 o'clock in the morning. We populate it manually. If odds are cut, we can double click, or our members can double click and they can update this so that other people in the community know about it. We can find information about the bet in under I. This has come from the Gaydon Centre, so we know Republic of Ireland to win both halves has come from there. It could have come from the exchange. It's got a confidence interval, and the bet tracker is a useful way of just catching all bets in all sports and monitoring them and having them update every few minutes so that the EV and the back odds are always current. We also capture bets such as Double Delight, Hat-Trick Heaven automatically, as well as golf bets that you can see, and any bet that can be tracked live really via either the exchanges or best bookmaker price or our own benchmarking methodologies, can be sent over to the tracker and we can monitor the EV in real time. So those are the trackers that we have at Bookie Bashing. In the next video, we're going to have a look at the tools.